you can see, giant mess. And boy, are we tired, but it's coming. You can see we used up some of the piles of insulation out here, and we used up everything there. Right. You know, please. Show you what we're up to. Let's see, close the doors. Okay, so remember there were those huge piles, 6 piles, 6 piles? Yeah, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 piles. 8 big pallets of insulation in the middle here. They're all gone, use them all. So the walls are done. We had shown you that before, right? And we did the details like this, it's a double post on the walls, but not the windows, so then we had to build out the windows. So that's all done. And then we started on that animal up there. That ceiling has proved to be very difficult. And so I thought I'd show you how we're doing it. I don't know if our way is the best, but it works. And maybe it'll help somebody else. So this is a big Buildings Direct building. So everything I'm going to show you will work for any other big Buildings Direct building. Someday I'll do a video about big Buildings Direct. They're very nice, they're very helpful, the material's great, the steel is great, no complaints. But there are some issues. Starting with the name, Big Buildings Direct. There's nothing direct about Big Buildings Direct. But anyway, I'm definitely happy and satisfied. The quality is great. No complaints about the quality. But I'll do a video about all that. But, so let me kind of show you how we're dealing with this up here. So on the walls, we've put 2 layers of solid insulation plus a vapor and reflective barrier. So this is the reflective barrier, right? And this has an R value of 3. And then there are 2 layers of solid insulation. There's this pink stuff, and that has an R value of 10. And then there's this whitish, silverish stuff that looks like this on one side and like this on the other, and that has an R value of 13. So why didn't we use 2 layers of this? This stuff is not really water resistant. This is. And so what we did is we put a layer of this out there at the wall with a gap of about 1 inch, a little less in the walls, and then a layer of this, and then a layer of this stuff with a reflective facing in, and then of course sheetrock. This is pretty straightforward. The most difficult part is dealing with all the wires. We have all this MC wire in there, and you have to kind of trim around it and all that. So that adds a lot of time. But the walls were fairly straightforward. Just a lot of work, tremendous amount of work. It's 1,800 square feet, so it's huge. But that's the walls. But now up here it gets a lot more complicated because you have trussers and brackets, and these things, and those things. It's a pain in the butt, so there's a lot of custom cutting. And we wanted extra insulation up top. So some of the tricks we came up with were, the first thing we put up top is this. Right? So it acts as a vapor barrier and also as a reflective barrier. But if you try to put it up on the ceiling and glue it, it won't stay. It's going to fall down unless you put it up with glue and then use tape to hold it up. Because if you just glue it, by the time you get from there to here working on it, it's all on the ground. So we had to come up with a better way. And we had to figure out how to hang all this on the ceiling and put in wood. You see there are 2x4s up there now. See? 2x4s, and they'll go all the way across. Because we're going to put fire-rated sheetrock up there. So you have to put 2x4s up there. And that's a little more complex. So we found these. These are called hurricane brackets. They look like this. See? Like that. And so you put these up on the metal part. We'll screw this into the metal. This is flush up against the metal. And then your 2x4s slip in here. So you can see up there, if you look closely, you can see the brackets. And you know how they're hooked up. You might be able to get them better maybe this angle right here, Jason, see if you can get that one up there. Now, you gotta get the light in your eyes, right? Yeah, don't point up there. I don't know how you're gonna do it. Maybe try this one here, something. But anyway, that's how he held the 2x4s up there. And these things, I know they don't look like much, these things are strong, okay? We only needed to hold sheetrock, and the sheetrock is gonna be, across quite a number of the pieces of 2x4. I hung from just one area of 2x4, and I had no problem holding meat. So no problem there. So that's what we used to hold up the things. So basically, this is up on the ceiling, and boom, then you screw a bunch of screws into it, and you're all set. And that's that. Then, in order to deal with the reflective barrier, we put our pink stuff, we trimmed it to fit this width right here, just like that. Now, when you look here, because of the brackets, you see that there are open gaps, which we will have to go back and custom fill after the fact. But once you get out to here, you will see that there are no longer gaps. These get snug against each other. They're just going to need a little, TLC up there, and that's it. So to do it, what we do is to deal with the reflective stuff, we came up with a trick. We cut the pink stuff to size, then we take our reflective barrier, we wrap it around the edge, and we put screws into it, big long 3-inch screws. Now, these aren't even screwed in, just smack them in with your hand. So now when this thing goes up on the ceiling, right, this will slide down in behind those. Because the other pink doesn't come all the way to the 2x4. It stops short, okay? So now this guy goes, slides in behind them, just like that, with this thing here, and then you notice, so this is up there, and you notice there's a separate amount, because this will overhang the next one. There's a piece up there that will overhang this one. And that's how we're doing it. So these two go in at the very same time. Then there are two extra pieces. So on one end, we have brackets, those hurricane brackets, and so we pre-make the pieces ready to snap up. And then the next square doesn't have, it sits right between the brackets, so you notice that it's just a square. And that's what we do. We pre-cut them all. Now, to give you a good example, for these two rows, we started at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we finished at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And all we really did was measure, and then pre-cut all the pieces, and hang these couple of pieces here. And it really pays to pre-cut. The template, everything, save your templates. We have our templates down there in the very corner, and pre-cut. If you try, I know that when you do it that way, it doesn't appear like you did much. Like today, you come back in here from yesterday, you go, what the hell did you guys do? Other than make these little pieces. But they take a very long time. But in the end, that's a faster way than up and down the scaffolding. Cut something, go back up, put it up, come back down, cut something else, go back up. That takes forever. So we pre-cut all of that. We'll be able to put this whole section of the roof up there tomorrow in an hour, maybe a little more, because it's just push it up and that's it. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll certainly have this done, and we'll have started on the other side. When we get to this, we will have almost 50% of the ceiling done. Not quite 50%. You'll notice that the end pieces we haven't started on yet. That's because the wall still has to be built out up there, that wall, just like we did here. You see the 2x4s here. Because the end walls are not double framed, they're single. So we had to bring it out to be double so that we had this amount of insulation. So we still have to do that up there, way up there. And then get wood up against the insulation so they have something to screw the sheetrock into. So this area, this last bay on both ends, is going to have to be further customized. And that will take time. But hopefully some of these little tricks help you guys. In between the cracks, we spray that foam insulation, and that works okay. It's a pain in the butt to scrape it back up. We found that in most cases it's actually better to spray it and tape it right away and contain the insulation instead of having to go back and scrape. So that might help you. What else? Jason, am I forgetting to tell them something that's important or that would be nice to know?
Not that I can remember. You mentioned...
Yeah, on the floor, you'll notice we left a gap where this would touch the floor. We're going to fill that gap with the pink stuff because it doesn't care about water, and it's a garage. There's going to be water on the floor at some point. So we did that. I don't know, am I missing something, Jason?
Don't think so.
So when we get done, we'll still have to deal with these doors. These doors are going to be replaced someday. After the money tree goes a few more leaves. Because they're crappy doors. I mean, they're nice, don't get me wrong, but they have zero insulation down. I put my finger literally outside the building. I'm just shoving it in here. So there's a huge air gap up there. You can't see it from down here. You have to be up top looking down. But so, these doors don't insulate very well. But for now, I think in the winter, I'm going to do something. I'm going to find a way, a contraption, or build a contraption that just seals them and gives us our value in here. And we won't open the garage doors because the cars aren't going out in the snow anyway. We won't open the garage doors until spring unless we need to do something. But, and then we'll deal with new garage doors at some point down the road. But if I find a good way to help seal these doors, they might last for a while. And I'm suspecting that if I think about it a little bit, I might come up with something. I'm thinking maybe magnets. And put something in here. I'm not sure that there's always an answer, so we'll see. Because 3M makes a flexible door insulating kit. Now it's intended for regular normal garage doors, right? And it has a tape, and the tape sticks to the door, and then it has a thing sticking out, and then you put the insulation in, and there's a little cap that just locks it in, and it's soft. That would work here, but I'm not going to be able to put anything here, but I'll come up with something. I think I'll come up with something maybe and save these doors. If not, I'll replace them. But other than that, it's coming. It's slow as molasses, and it's exhausting. I have to tell you, this is, you see these things on the internet, and there's some guys say, oh yeah, we put 2 layers of solid insulation in here, and then everything's always clean and beautiful. You have no idea the disaster area this place looked like just an hour ago. Okay? Insane, because it was too cold to be outside cutting, so we had our saw in here. And if you look at the saw, you get a good idea of what it must have looked like in here. Look at the mess. And I cleaned this saw, but it still looks like that. So just sweeping the floor took an additional hour. So we stopped at 3, and by 4 o'clock we were still sleeping and stuff, So, this is not an easy job. And every once in a while I tell myself, why the hell do you come up with these ideas? But it's coming. And I'm beginning to be able to see the possibility of being done someday. I'm trying to get the sheetrock guy in here as fast as possible because he wants to get in, and I'd like to get him to get in, because if we can get the sheetrock up, I can put the mini splits in here, boom, we got heat, we're happy, and then we're doing things like painting and, banners and all that. And that's easy stuff. The only big job left after the sheetrock is to build our diner counter here, and that's not, compared to what we're doing here, that's nothing. So that's where we are. I hope some of these ideas that we used help some of you guys. If you have any questions or ideas or thoughts, post them. Thanks for stopping by and following our crazy adventures, and be back again soon. Take care.